Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Disney's Gargoyles Steel Clan Robot Ultimate Action Figure. This is the robot version of Goliath that Xanatos made to fight the Gargoyles. Arguably one of the best designs of anything ever coming out of the 90s. It's a pretty darn cool looking thing, and I was very excited when NECA announced it, and I'm very excited that they made it, and I'm very excited to tell you that it is mostly really good. This is one of the better releases overall, I think, in the line. However, there are a couple issues that are kind of severe, so make sure you stick around to see that. But let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand so we can take a closer look. Some of you NECA collectors have been asking me to show the packaging more, so I will oblige. That's the front of it, very cool artwork. You already saw that on the initial part of the review. Side part is just a pretty basic look at the figure, then some very basic poses, though I do like that they have the character select sort of thing down here. That's nice. Looking forward to this guy down here for sure. And then this side, again, not very much. Top is bland, bottom is nothing, and the inside is just, you know, if you have the figure, you don't need that. Okay, no cool artwork except for right there. All right, hopefully that is good enough to satisfy. Okay, so this guy stands roughly, let's call it 21 centimeters. That's gonna make him just about, let's say 8 3/8 inches. Now his legs do not have as much bend going on as I did for Goliath, and when I measured him with the bend, he was at 7 1/4. So this guy does have a little bit of height on him, but you could kind of get him closer if you needed to, but I don't remember for sure, and I didn't think to check. I'm guessing this guy's supposed to be just a little bit bigger. If he's supposed to be, then cool. If not, then you could easily fudge it, because like I said, his legs are a lot more straight than I had Goliath. So this guy's feet do not want to be used flat out. So yeah, they're not exactly the way they would look in the cartoon, but that's okay, I think. All right, so question of the day. Would you be happy if NECA released a new batch of Gargoyle figures that had a much more cartoon accurate look? We know NECA is capable of it. They've done it with their Ninja Turtle line. They've gone from live action to cartoon to comics. They've got every style in there. They could easily do Gargoyles in that same cartoon look with the extra bulk. I would personally love it. I don't care that I already bought a set. I'll buy more. It's Gargoyles. Why not? It's not that many figures, and they're both cool for what they are. So I would love that. So let me know what you guys think. Okay, here is a quick comparison against Darwin for height. That's your average Marvel Legends height. At about 26 bucks, and what is this guy? 40, I think? 40 bucks? Something around 40, I don't remember. I pre-ordered it forever ago when it finally came in, so I don't remember, but there you go. All right, so aesthetically speaking, this guy looks pretty darn good in some ways. The first way is that it's a nice matte finish for all of the metallic parts, which is all of the parts. And I like that. And there's panel lining throughout, which really brings him to life. I like the color combinations. Everything just gels together very nicely. I like it a whole bunch. Now on this figure though, unfortunately, I have quite a few issues with the finish. Now these are kind of the kind of issues that you can get, and it's not like a huge deal. You guys can probably see on the foot, I'm just missing a fair amount of the greenish paint there. Like it just got smudged in production, so that's kind of annoying. The chest paint right here on his vent is just horrible. Like I don't usually touch up my figures, but unless I buy another one to replace this, I'm gonna have to fix this. It detracts from the figure so much. That looks really, really bad. Okay, and then the last thing that's a paint issue really, and there's not a whole lot they could do about this, I'm guessing, given the nature of the wings, but these giant flat pieces of plastic that have the flat metallic paint, now, of course, in certain lighting conditions, like on this side, you don't see any blemishes at all. But on this side, you can start to see them show up. There's a big smudge up here, a whole bunch going on down here. There's a big scratch right there, and that's just the way it came in the package. So, like, it's not like they're invisible under normal lighting. You can definitely see them. It's just if you have a bright light, it's going to hide them a little bit more, especially on camera. But yeah, the flat paint on such a smooth surface, that's iffy. That's super risky to do. That's hard to pull off. Now, luckily, they would be relatively easy to repaint if you wanted to hit them with a really fine sandpaper or sanding sponge or something and then spray them yourself. You could do that. Hard plastic should take just fine. Again, do at your own risk. But yeah, they come out of the package with a lot of blemishes on the wings, so that does detract from the figure, unfortunately. That being said, it still looks damn good, and I probably won't notice him as much because I'm going to probably leave him like this and have other figures probably standing in front of him. Okay, that leads me to another issue which we'll talk about when we get to the articulation, but let's continue with the sculpt here for the aesthetic. I love it. It's really, really good. It is more than reasonably accurate. It has a very nice imposing feel. It has a very fun look. Like, it's just exactly what you want a robot gargoyle to look like. They really, really nailed the essence of the character design. I'm very, very pleased with that. Okay, so there we go. That's it probably for the aesthetic. I don't know what else I could say. Oh, you know what I could say? I would have liked the eyes to be a little bit brighter and maybe glossy or something, because they're supposed to be glowing and they're just flat, relatively dull, kind of orangey red. So that, obviously that's a very small issue, but it could be better, so it's worth mentioning. And NECA's definitely known for going that extra mile, putting in the extra effort, so I don't mind mentioning it. You know, maybe they'll say, hey, you know what, we probably should have told the factory to do that. Doesn't hurt to point stuff out. So aesthetically speaking, it is really good, though not perfect. I'm gonna go only 8 out of 10, and hear me out. It's because despite how good the figure is, this is a glaring ugly spot, and then so are the wings, which are very obvious. I mean, they're huge, so it's very obvious that there are big blemishes on there to the naked eye. Obviously right now you have issues with lighting. Okay, now as far as accessories go, they did a better job. Like, I thought they were gonna just give us a couple little things because you don't need them for the robots, but they did a really good job. You do get 2 fist hands, 2 gripping hands, a set of relaxed hands, and then a slightly more clawed, like opened claw hand. So that's a really good set of hands. There's everything you could want, really. Then you do get his forearm guns. Little Optimus Primal action going on there. I like that. They actually look really good. They swap out nicely. No problem at all with that. Love that they included those. Some blast effects on those would have been just the chef's kiss to seal the deal, but they're still pretty darn good. And then you do get the blast effects for his thrusters, one for his back and then one for each of his feet. And I love the milky plastic they used. It does give that nice cartoon comic-y vibe rather than just the clear. This definitely has a better look, so I'm very, very pleased with that. Again, wonderful accessories. Only thing we're really missing is a blast effect for the guns. So I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 for accessories. And I guess a display stand to hold them up in the air, but that's true for all the gargoyles and they're freaking huge, so I don't think that's necessary. So yeah, good spread of accessories. Now, let's talk about the articulation, a very important aspect to most action figures. I wanna start with the wings, because I am not thrilled with how these turned out. It is good that they are hinged, okay? We've been talking about the wing issue for the gargoyles for a long time. These guys are hinged, but you can get away with the rivet and everything. That's fine, I don't care about that. But when you move the hinge, this part of the wing moves. And I don't know that that's accurate. Or if it's, I don't know if it's accurate or if it's supposed to be accurate or not, but to me it's unreasonable. It should have stayed with this piece. Because when you bring them all the way out, they point down and it just looks a little bit weird rather than pointing up more. So that's a little bit strange. That's not the issue though. I don't really care about that. It just seems weird that they did them that way. I would have thought that those would be reversed. But here's what the real issue is. Since we're in articulation, this is the most important part. Look at that hinge. Look at the orientation of that hinge. It makes zero sense to have that hinge there. The way these stick up from the joint, okay, fine. The hinge still has to be horizontal. It doesn't do you any good to fold the wings like this. What is that supposed to do? That's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. Not good. You do get some rotation, of course. That's fine. But this joint needs to be a horizontal hinge. This makes 0 sense. 0 sense at all. I was just gonna say, should I make new wings? I don't want to. I already have so much stuff to do for the current sale that I have going on that I haven't started yet. I don't have time. But this is not good. The wing articulation blows. And they're so floppy. So, I mean, there's not a lot they could have done about that, because that's just the way it is. I mean, this is basically just, I'm guessing it's cheat ABS, which is gonna flex, but it just doesn't have the right feel to it, and that hinge being at the wrong angle just really sours the whole figure for me. Okay, so articulation for the head is actually really good. We have the full neck articulation, so ball peg here, and then a double ball peg at the top for the head. Worth noting, the hair on this guy relatively flexible compared to Goliath. Now, it's mostly because it's just a flat piece, but he might have the best hair out of all of the gargoyles as far as flexing, but you're still not going to really do much because it's still going to get in the way of the wings. So very basic head articulation, practically speaking. Up and down is good for sure. He can look down very well. Up, yeah, not so much. I shouldn't have said up and down, but it's fine. It's reasonable for the gargoyles. The hair is going to be a problem no matter what. Okay, onto the shoulder pads. Unfortunately, they just hinged the shoulder pads up there rather than making them rotate with the arm, which I know it's supposed to not separate from here, but rotating with the arm is usually the better call. So let's see how the shoulders function. You can bring the arms pretty far forward and the shoulders just flex. So that is a pretty good thing. It does keep the continuity here. I think I'll take it. And then going out to the side, that shouldn't really be affected either way. So yeah, that works. So okay, yeah, that's fine. NECA did a decent job with the shoulder pad, so I don't mind as much that it's connected to the body rather than to the arm. That's okay by me. It's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay, especially in this case. Bicep swivel works no problem. Double jointed elbow gives you pretty good range. Not like a crazy amount, but that's definitely going to be enough. The forearm does rotate, by the way, so if you want to rotate these guys around to the side, you can do that for the blasting poses. And then the wrists have a swivel and a hinge. The gripping hands do not have vertical hinges, though he doesn't have anything to grip in this package anyway, so that's probably okay. Torso is a couple of ball pegs. Ball peg down here rather than just a swivel like the gargoyles have been, so that's pretty good. Oh, also, this isn't a knock on the figure or anything, but being that it is all matte finish paint, it'll scratch super easily, so be very careful with these guys back here in the backs of the elbows. All right, okay, so the torso doesn't have the best range, but it does move probably well enough. I wish it was a little bit tighter. And then side to side is actually really good, and then obviously your rotation is going to be no problem at all. But yeah, it's a pretty loose torso. I don't know that it's going to be a problem really for anything, but it could, so it's worth mentioning. All right, for the hips, they're just classic ball sockets. Nothing crazy going on there. They go out to the side, no problem. They are pretty tight. It feels like the type of squeaky joint that's going to get tighter and tighter. You may want to put just the tiniest little bit of silicone oil in there. Or PTFE powder. Oh, wow. It's not ratcheted. That is the ball slip sticking. Oh, that is scary, scary, scary stuff to do. So we're going to do it, and if it breaks, it breaks. So the leg goes back relatively far. That's good. And then going forward, oh boy. I don't like that at all. Okay, it goes plenty far forward, and hopefully we didn't transfer any of the gunmetal onto the silver thigh. But you have plenty of range there, so that's good. This is a soft piece, at least a little bit, so hopefully it didn't scratch. But yeah, good range. Oh man, definitely lubricate that. Oh, that's so scary. Alright, well I don't see any paint transfer either, so that's good. Thigh swivel is reasonable. Double jointed knees, that's as far forward as they're gonna go. They do bend, of course, all the way back, so that's fine. And then for the ankles, now these guys I don't care for. These ones, they're okay. They're both kind of annoying to use, and certain spots feel pretty loose and some feel pretty tight, so I guess it might depend on your figure. You do get your rotation there, and that's your hinge. So some of those spots on that ratchet, it's not really a ratchet, it's just the tabbed hinge. Not anywhere near as tight as it should be, so anything where the foot is outstretched like this, like let's say you straighten the leg out a little bit more and do like that kind of pose, that it won't hold. It's just gonna flex. So you want to bring that down more and then bend the toe, and that'll give them a little bit more rigidity, but this is not tight enough. And then the toe hinge is actually not bad. The rotation's a little weird on both of these, so they don't have the versatility in the feet that the regular gargoyles have just because of the angles of things, which is unfortunate, but you can get them to stand, and see how it just kind of rotates in a worthless fashion? That's not helpful. But yeah, I would suggest you bring this part down as far as you can and then straighten these out. Even though it looks a little bit weird, it'll make them a lot more stable and kind of artificially make him more imposing by making him taller. So the ankles are not great. And then lastly, we have the tail, which is the same thing as the gargoyle's tail. There's a hinge in there and it rotates, and it's very nicely bendy. Nice paint detail in there. You can see those little silver dots. Those are actually painted details. I like that. And the bendy wire goes all the way up to the last little segment. Be careful, that's very thin there, but that's pretty reasonable for a bendy wire, so not bad at all. Okay, articulation on this guy, I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. Pretty solid. Could be a little bit better, but definitely nothing to complain about, other than the ankles being a little bit finicky. Alrighty, final verdict on this guy time. I'm gonna say it is a quite fun figure. It is a very nice looking figure, other than the few blemishes here and there. It poses well enough. The sculpt is wonderful. I'm going to say this is one of NECA's stronger releases despite the flaws, though do keep in mind there are flaws that you may have to look out for if you're shopping in store. You might be able to avoid some of them. I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of... I'm gonna do 8.5 out of 10. I wanted to do a 9, but the wings being quite a focal point and blemished relatively severely, I don't care for that. And then the ankles being loose is not great either, of course. But it's still a really strong figure, and if you happen to get one that doesn't have those issues, then you're going to be aces. It's a really, really good one, so I'm glad NECA made it, and I think you guys will be glad to own it. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.